Hi everyone. Today's presentation, we're going to talk about sustainable fashion and a brand that I'm Shelly, and my partner Veronica, we came up with. So this is called ELLE VELLY, and we will introduce how it related to the intangible culture, heritage, and sustainable fashion. And this is our agenda. So at the beginning of the presentation, I'd love to share some background information about Yunnan. This is where our brand originated and also where me and Veronica come from. So Yunnan is Chinese people's favorite traveling place. This is because it is nourished with cultures, diversity cultures. So we have 26 ethnic groups, over 56 overall in the country. Also, Yunnan located in the southern part of China, which had diverse landscapes such as high plateaus, rainforest, and snow mountains, you name it. And because of this, we are also rich in biodiversity. We're well known as a plant kingdom and an animal kingdom. So here we like to share with you a video that could better illustrate what is
Yunnan. It's a place that is hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the slides doesn't move, so.
It's not working?
Yeah, but now we can see the video.
Oh yeah, can you hear the video also?
Yeah, I can hear the video.
Perfect.
Yeah.
The locals may talk about delicious foods such as ham, Shan, pineapple rice, rice noodles, jiefe, fried uokwai, or more. They may talk about festivals such as water splashing, Xu Torch Festival, Third Month Fair, fire worship, Losar, or more. And when they talk about these, you may hear Mandarin, the Sang language, Yi, Hani, Dai, Si, or more.
Shelly,
is Yunnan, home to
I think the
26
video,
long-dwelling ethnic groups.
sorry to
among all-
interrupt. I think the video doesn't work.
This video doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's okay. I can just send a link in the after the conference, and everybody, if you're interested in, you can watch the video. I'm sorry for the technical problem. And then let's just get into introducing about the background. Okay, so when we talk about Yunnan, after understanding the background of this province, we'd like to introduce you one of the most famous ethnic groups in Yunnan minority group, which is the Yi minority. So most of the minority groups in Yunnan, they live in the mountain and they regard the nature wonders, the nature elements such as the sun, the stars, the moonlight, the plants, the animals at their face. So for the Yi minority group, they regard those nature elements such as the flower, the tiger, as one of them symbols, such as represent luck, represent courage, and represent calmness. And also for Yi people, they are really good at making handcraft, such as sewing the patterns on their clothes. And this is what we're going to mention later about the Yi's embroidery. So me and Veronica just came up with the idea that why not just combine those patterns with the textile in our daily life? Because in this fast developed society, people who are working or in a school sometimes may have anxiousness or stressful. Therefore, we're thinking about combining those nature element into our textile in our daily life. Therefore, we can bring people with more calmness and peacefulness. Therefore, we start up the brand called ELLE VELLY, and Veronica is going to explain more about this brand.
Okay, thank you for having me here. Thank you, Shelly. I'm going to go through the brand introduction by presenting the origin of the brand name, our mission, and what we want to offer. So why do we call our brand ELLE VELLY? Elle in the French means she, her, and Valley is the combination of two co-founders' names, which are Shelly and Veronica. Also, it has a similar pronunciation with Valley, where the E woman comes from. So since they can gain inspiration from living experiences in the valley during the process of handcrafting, we even could say that the nature of the valley feeds them, nourishes them, and empowers them. So for our mission, which is the why we want to create the brand, is to become the character who inherited and develop the ethnic culture. So through our brand, we hope we have the power to foster the cultural heritage of our hometown. And We also want to, through the storytelling, to empower the youth women in the country area by providing them with more sustainable manufacturing ecosystem, which Shelly gonna introduce it more. And in terms of the consumers, we want to deliver them with a very peaceful, natural, and sustainable lifestyle through a simplicity focus. In other words, the simplicity is our personality, which helps young women who live in the bustling city and who are feel always like stressed out and anxious to find a way to resonate with us and be empowered by us. Next. So what do we offer? Shelly, next slide. Thank you.
Is it working?
No, I can just see the mission.
Let's see. Let me restart sharing my screen now. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but I can start first. So we want to integrate a traditional pattern with the modern product. So these 4 pictures you guys can see on the screen are just examples, but not our products. For example, we want to do the canvas bag and laptop sleeves. So you can see the very beautiful pattern from embroidered handcrafting skill on it. And we also want to do the badges, which could be used for decoration on the canvas bag and laptop sleeve. So in this way, consumers can have like different collections for the patterns and DIY their bags by themselves. In addition, in terms of sustainability, there are different uses of the badges. For example, using that with the clothes which have some damage so that the clothes could be recycled and reused. So how do we connect our brand with sustainable fashion? Shelly will introduce more about it.
Yeah, so when we're thinking about align our idea with the sustainable fashion, we're thinking about not only promoting sustainability about environmental protection, but also about the sustainability for the society. And those are the 4 points that we are going to include it in the UN SDG. So to be specific, when we're talking about a sustainable environment, the first of all, our product have high quality. All of the product is going to be handmade, sewed by those women in a village, and they can last for a very long time. Secondly, when we talk about the product feature, since most of the pattern we sewed on our product will be nature elements such as the flowers, the sun, the plants, and animals. This could remind people with a sense of peacefulness, but the most importantly could help them to cause awareness of environmental protection. Last but not least, when we are shipping our product, we are thinking about using sustainable material, either it's recyclable and it's degradable. When we're talking about the sustainability about the society, first of all, we create more job opportunities for women in a village. So for most in Yunnan, when people live in a village, for their culture, men are mainly in charge of working outside to earn money, and women are supposed to stay at home, cook meals, raising kids, and sew clothes, something like that. So we are thinking about, since they have very professional skills about sewing and they can create super pretty natural pattern, we're thinking about recruiting more women so that they can have more job opportunities and earn money and spend them by themselves. Last but not least, we also promoting intangible culture heritage about e-sewing. We're thinking about having educational campaign or have educational video to talk about more about our culture, the existing culture.
So based on the sustainability as our one of the main contextual values, we also could see in the forecast the market of ethnic culture with fashion there. So first, in the first picture, we can see the Fendi collaborated with the E people to design a handbag, and South Mountain, which has been reported by the Vogue magazine, telling the story of E's silver handcrafting skill. And Ji Chen also is the very first E ethnic designer brand that attended Milan Fashion Week. So in the future, we envision ourselves beyond fashion. We want to through our storytelling to raise the awareness of sustainability. We also might incorporate some education session which facing the public and students, as well as local people about the intangible cultural heritage sustainability. In this way, we could contribute more to the cultural heritage and new Chinese aesthetics aesthetics in terms of sustainable development. So ultimately, establishing a centralized community dedicated to the preservation and development of Chinese ethnic intangible cultural heritage. So we have some questions in prepared, and we are very open to any other questions and comments and ideas. So please feel free to speak out and jump into discussion any single time. The first question is, besides the products we mentioned before, what other products you recommend us to combine the pattern with in our daily life? Figure out a way to understand about consumers' preference, whether or not people are interested in this kind of style and art form. The third one is how can we marketing our products and this culture to an international American market? Because there's no very like contextual culture idea in the American market before. So we are really looking forward to more advices about these three questions.
Yeah, and
Thank you
basically
guys
this
so
is our
much.
presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you for that presentation. It was a really rich presentation, and I loved how you really you shared so much about your journey with this idea and like how it all came together, and is touching on so many different areas. So thank you for that presentation. It was I learned a lot and was very interesting. So so we're opening it up now for discussion. If anyone has any responses or things they want to say, any ideas in relation to the questions that they posed, feel free to raise your Zoom hand and we can enable your audio, or if you prefer to just contribute your response by typing, feel free to put that into the Q&A, or if you have any questions that you want to ask about the idea or the pitch, feel free to also put those into the Q&A. And I can get us started off while people come up with some questions. Yeah, I just wanted to hear a little bit more, or I would love to hear a little bit more about like the how you talked a little bit about like sharing the story of your brand, and how like a huge part of the impact of this idea was really kind of telling this whole story. And you mentioned doing, I think, like a campaign or like a video or something. And I would just love to hear a little bit more about that, and like how you envision that might take place to help people really understand the full story of your idea.
Perfect. Would you like me to start first, Veronica?
Yeah, you can talk about the video.
Right. So we are still on the idea phase of creating the video. Probably we're going to look for some professional people who is good at video editing. So mainly the content is going to talk about, first, we're going to create a concept that is telling people about the minority people's daily life. How do they admire the nature, and how does the nature bring them that kind of peaceful calmness and courage and luck, like for good luck feeling. So after create this concept, we will connect it with the art piece that they created. So we will share a lot of beautiful patterns with people through the video, and especially giving the emphasis on how does those villages women sew those art craft. Like it is a very important culture, like for my culture background, for women to sew those beautiful patterns on their clothes. Me and my mom always bring me, when I was young, she brought me to the villages and visit people, visit their factory, like seeing how do they produce those beautiful art pieces. So we are definitely also gonna talk about that. And then, yeah, we think for the educational video, we will basically include these two content. And Veronica, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, so through this video, we just want to provide you guys with like very macro and like general context about e-culture. So which is not one of, is the main background we want to focus on, and based on that to develop our brand. So yeah.
Thank you.
I
We
just
re-
think
we received a question, and the question is kind of what is the next step for your brand? And then there was kind of a second related question of will you start in one region or area and expand, or kind of what is your vision for the brand kind of in the longer term?
we're thinking about when we're launching a brand, we will considering about like the easiest way will be targeting on the people around us. So probably on Gen Z, and especially for college student or some of the women who just go to work in a society in Boston area. And we will also have some campaign, like marketing campaign off campus, like offline, for example, setting a little booth in the campus and letting people to know more about this art piece first, to letting them know about the culture. So our mission is not like, our aim is not to selling the thing, but it's more like creating the feeling and also sharing the culture with everyone.
Yeah, and we have already contact with the manufacturing factory in my hometown, and they have like bunch of working sewing women there to which can provide the handcrafts for us. So I think the very first step we wanna tap into is to do the marketing research to figure out like how people can love our products and how can we deliver our value. And it also ties into our question is that how can we introduce this culture into this totally new market in the North America?
Thank you for those answers. We received another question, but I just want to check if does anyone have any comments that they want to share? If you do, feel free to raise your hand, and I can enable your microphone. But the other question we received was just how has your experience at Boston University, but I think more generally being in a college environment, and how has that influenced the trajectory of your brand in the development of the idea?
This is a great question. I guess maybe you're also from Boston University, but I'm not sure. So one of the points that our school want us like sharing with us is about diversity. So we really focus on the cultural diversity. So when talking about the sustainable brand itself, in Boston University, they have a sustainable fashion club. And also I met Dr. Julia Devoy, and she is also like my mentor to tell me about what is textile fashion and textile waste and get me involved into this project. Also in the school, I am doing a project to study about textile waste and how do we eliminate the textile waste in long term. So the school provided us a very good platform for me to talk with people who are who have the same interest. And then Veronica is from Emerson University, and then we just talk since we're from the same cultural background, and let's have a brand that can communicate a culture and also align with the sustainable fashion.
Yeah, even though I'm not in the BU, but I definitely want to looking for more opportunities about how to combine our brand with the intercultural club or association, because I think that is gonna be like one of very good way for us to deliver our value to the market. So if anyone has any like resources, please feel free to like share with us through the email.